So finally, I'm getting around to watching the Halloween stuff that I've been wanting to watch this year for Halloween. And in this video, I'm going to be reviewing a TV series that's been recommended to me by my best friend. And this is The Haunting of Hill House. I plan to watch the other Mike Flanagan shows like The Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, The Midnight Club, The Fall of the House of Usher. I plan to watch all of those, but I'm starting with The Haunting of Hill House. The Haunting of Hill House is a dual timeline family drama wrapped in a ghost story, where past traumas bleed into the present and every creaking floorboard echoes with guilt, grief, and longing. In 1992, the Crane family, parents Hugh and Olivia and their 5 children, move into the old Hill House to renovate and flip it. As strange phenomena escalate, Olivia's fragile insanity unravels, and tragedy strikes one fateful night. 26 years later, the surviving Crane siblings, Stephen, Shirley, Theo, Luke, and Nell, are all scattered and traumatized. A close loss to the family pulls them back together, forcing each to confront memories of Hill House. And through interwoven flashbacks and present-day scenes, we learn how the house explored their deepest wounds, how each sibling tried to escape, and how the past can refuse to stay buried. This series is rich with thematic depth, using horror as a lens to explore psychological and emotional truths. Hill House becomes a metaphor for unresolved pain. The ghosts are often manifestations of trauma, like Nell's bent neck lady is a chilling example of how the past or future can literally haunt the present. The Cranes are bound by love and torn apart by secrets. The show examines how families cope with loss, denial, and the roles they're forced to play. Is the house truly haunted, or are its horrors projections of the characters' mental states? Flanagan leaves room for the ambiguity, making the supernatural feel deeply personal. Each sibling carries guilt, whether it's Stephen for exploring their story, Shirley for emotional repression, Theo for detachment, Luke for addiction, and Nell for feeling unseen. Their arcs are quests for forgiveness, both from others and themselves. And Hill House isn't just a setting in this movie, it's a character. Its architecture shifts, its rooms deceive the family and the viewer, and its silence speaks volumes. The Red Room in particular is a psychological trap adapting to each Crane's needs and fears, like how it's a game room for Stephen, treehouse for Luke, dance room for Theo. Yet none of them remember stepping foot into the Red Room at all. Carla Gugino's portrayal of Olivia is tragic and tender. Her descent into madness is subtle, with less possession, more a slow drowning in grief and psychic sensitivity. As the rational eldest, Stephen's skepticism is a shield. Michael Huseman captures the tension between denial and buried fear, especially as his worldview crumbles. Elizabeth Reeser embodies control and repression. Her performance reveals the cracks beneath Shirley's composed exterior, especially in scenes of marriage strain and moral conflict. Theo's psychic touch is both a gift and a curse. Kate Siegel, who I know from Hush, which is a Mike Flanagan movie, I haven't seen that in years. I probably need to check that out too. But her cool demeanor masks deep vulnerability, and her arc towards emotional honesty is quietly powerful. Luke turned out to be my favorite character in this whole show. His addiction is portrayed with heartbreaking authenticity. Oliver Jackson Cohen avoids cliches, showing the pain of relapse and the longing for escape from the cycle of addiction. Victoria Pedretti, who I already had a big opinion on because of her role as Love in You. She was incredible in that, and she was just as incredible in this show. She plays as the emotional anchor of this show. Her innocence, sorrow, and ultimate fate are devastating, and she brings a ghostly grace to Nell that lingers long after the credits roll. Both actors that portray Hugh with quiet strength and deep regret. Thomas shows a father trying to hold his family together, while Hutton reveals the toll of that failure. And the children actors Violet McGraw, McKenna Grace, Lulu Wilson, Julian Hilliard, and Paxton Singleton all play their roles convincingly when placing them beside the characters as adults, with Nell and Luke being sweet and innocent, Stephen trying to help in any way he can, Shirley and Theo being the older and protective siblings, while Theo is more stoic in her mannerisms. When putting the child actors next to the adult actors, they feel natural with their chemistry and different personalities. The character-centric episodes allow for deep psychological exploration. The nonlinear storytelling, which I wasn't a fan of at first, mirrors the disjointed nature of trauma. And some other shows that play with this kind of storytelling, like 13 Reasons Why, the Pretty Little Liars reboot, Yellow Jackets. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like these shows are getting with this type of storytelling get oversaturated, but by the end of the series or the season is when I can decide whether I like it or not, because at the beginning I'm like, okay, this is just confusing, there's a lot going on. I like to keep it simple, this is a lot for me to handle, and I kind of get overwhelmed by all of it. But by the end, when it all comes together with the twists and the mystery that's going on, I'm usually left stand corrected. With Pretty Little Liars, that was the case. With 30 Reasons Why, that was the case. With this show, that was the case. But yeah, every time I see a show that's like this, I just start feeling overwhelmed. I'm just like, can we please stop doing this? Because it's just so complex and complicated. But the show's visual language is haunting with long takes, especially the 17-minute one in episode 6 where the family argues and the camera just rotates like it's the eye of a hurricane while there's an actual storm outside, using symmetrical framing and shadow play around the house to create a sense of unease. I also have to talk about the amount of monologues that are in this show, and they're just like, Mike Flanagan is one of the best horror writers of all time. Minimalist and eerie, the soundscape uses silence as tension before using loud knocks to enhance the tension. Whispers, creaks, and lullabies become tools of dread. Mirrors reflect fractured identities. The red room's shifting form symbolizes how trauma adapts and hides. Color palettes shift from warm to cold as the family fractures. Flanagan prioritizes character over scare, which is my favorite part of these types of stories. And it's one of the reasons why I love The Conjuring so much, because it does that in its own way. The horror is earned, it's not cheap, and every ghost is tied to a wound. Every scare is tied to a reveal or twist. And so, yeah, I have to give The Haunting of Hill House an A++, a 10 out of 10. When I was in the middle of my watch through, around episode 4 or 5, I was like, okay, I feel like this is going to be a B+, B-. But by the end, I was completely I stood corrected. This show is phenomenal. If you haven't checked out the series yet, I recommend checking it out if you haven't already. And don't miss out like I did. Because I'm excited to see how the other series turn out for me, and it makes me more excited for the Exorcist movie with Mike Flanagan and the Clayface movie that he's doing with DC. That's supposed to be kind of like a horror movie as well. But yeah, let me know what you thought about The Haunting of Hill House down below, and don't forget to like and follow.